We're very pleased. Chairwoman Zoe Lofterman is here from the Immigration Subcommittee. One of the major purposes was to provide our report to the Congress of the United States. Congresswoman.
Well, thank you very much. I'm grateful to have this report, and I want to thank the Police Foundation for bringing together the important stakeholders on this subject, the law enforcement agencies, the public officials, and community members to produce the report, which I will read with great interest. As you know, the subcommittee has had a hearing on 287G, and in the course of that hearings, we did learn of a number of problems with the program as it is operating in certain parts of the country. We did hear testimony from some in law enforcement about the program really interfering with the main mission of the police, which is to keep our communities safe from criminals who would do any of us harm. So we know that the new Secretary of Homeland Security is engaged in a review of the program along with many other programs in the department, and I'm sure that not only I but the Secretary will find this report of tremendous value as we move forward. We do know that the rule of law is important, but most especially our public safety is important. And in this time of budget cutbacks, we want to make sure that law enforcement has what it needs as much as possible to keep us safe. And I say that with the knowledge that yesterday California had an election, and the budget shortfall in California is now $6 billion higher than it was on Monday. And the governor, who visited with me for 2 hours yesterday, has indicated there will be tremendous cutbacks at every level, including police and including corrections. That prisoners will likely be released from state custody, so it is going to be more important than ever that the men in blue, who are our first line of defense, are focusing in on our public safety, and I value this report. Thank you very, very much. And so I'm late because we had votes.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much.
We were concerned that the debate nationally about immigration and immigration enforcement didn't include police speaking out on it. Police were pretty silent on the issue. We've thought that the experience of local police chiefs and the challenges they face in dealing with immigration is something that should be incorporated in the national debate and national policy. So the first thing we did was to have a telephone interview with a number of police chiefs across the country to find out what are the issues with immigration enforcement and what programs that they have that were working with that. What we decided was that we really needed to talk to the immigrant community directly in focus groups to understand this thing from a holistic perspective. We did that. We did it in Topeka, Kansas. We did it in Arlington, Texas. We did it in Carlton County, Florida, and El Paso, Texas.
Topeka is about 122,000 people, mostly Midwestern heartland of America folks, but we have issues in the immigration arena, just like every other city of any size in America does. There have been a lot of discussions in the report about how some of the cities in the Midwest or cities throughout the country began to get more immigrants as immigration reform changed and immigration enforcement changed, and that people left some cities and went to other areas where there were opportunities. In Topeka, there are many of the immigrant workers have jobs and are employed. Some of them are undocumented, some of them are not.
We also met with 33 different police agency leadership down there, and we met with some elected public officials. What that did was to tell us that we really needed to create a forum where local law enforcement could debate, discuss these issues, and come to some kind of determinations as to how we go about providing for the public safety function. How do we strike a balance between immigration enforcement and civil liberties, which is a critical thing for the police. Our conference, and it was with the report, with the focus groups, and with the conference, we produced a report. We had leading academic scholars that were involved with that. These scholars came from universities all over the country that have been working on these issues for years. They thought them through, and they interacted with police chiefs down there. I believe that the report represents a very comprehensive view of how police see these issues. You can't look at it as a singularity, hit this, this, this. You got to look at it from perspective. You know, like you say, somebody raised a point, well, you know, these police chiefs are for 287G enforcement, overly simplistic and too broad. The police chiefs believe in enforcing the criminal law. That's their duty, that's their responsibility. Under the Constitution, immigration enforcement is a federal responsibility. They are putting the police chiefs in a position where they have to enforce federal civil law. That's where the rub is. Okay. If you have it where the target is criminals and you're using the tools of immigration enforcement to leverage the criminal element and you're not breaching your duty to the public with respect to civil liberties, they're going to all go along with that. So what we're trying to say is this is not this is a nuanced issues, and these chiefs come from different cities across the country, and they've tried to separate out this issue from a lot of different angles and perspectives. And I was very excited and pleased with the kind of things they said, because it really does come from right at the ground level.
Our partner in law enforcement, my community, was interested in this. Our politicians, our elected officials, was very sensitive to our community, and they also supported this and assisted us by holding public hearings where the communities were allowed to come in and give public testimony about whether we should participate, and if we did participate, how should that look. And the MOA sets the parameters in what you can and can't do. And the MOA specifically says certain immigration violations that we can enforce. So I have officers who have special skills and authorities that when we get into situations where we need the assistance of an ICE agent, that we can do it ourselves. We're not out there trying to be ICE agents, but we're out there using this authority in the course of our normal duties. If I'm violating that MOA, then I need my community to tell me. We are open, we will investigate it, we will look at it, and we will report back to them. So the partnership started in the beginning in developing it, crafting it, and it continues today as we go about exercising it.